Hello and welcome to AASHE's first virtual award ceremony. We are so glad you've joined us today. My name is Famida Ahmed Bangar, Director of Sustainability at Stanford University. And today I have the distinct pleasure of facilitating the live reveal of the 2020 AASHE Sustainability Award winners. I'm very thankful and excited to be part of today's ceremony as a longtime partner, former board member, former board chair, and always a friend of AASHE. This award ceremony has always been one of my favorites. It's the culmination of all of our hard work and a moment of distinction for the strides we have made towards sustainability individually and together to inspire our very large community. Before we begin, I want to take a moment with you all to recognize the indigenous land from which I'm joining you today. My university is situated on the ancestral land of the Muwekma Ohlone tribe, and this land continues to be of great importance to the Ohlone people, and I'm grateful to call this land my home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge how we each in our own way can adopt a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration with our respective indigenous lands. Thank you. Let us begin our award ceremony. Starting in 2006, actually, AASHE carried out the most important task of elevating those who are advancing sustainability with higher education through the AASHE Sustainability Awards program. This program seeks to recognize sustainability achievements, research advancements, and leadership by raising the visibility of high-impact sustainability projects and pioneering research. The award program helps to disseminate innovations and encourage continued progress towards sustainability. I think you will all be very inspired today. To date, AASHE has given over 100 awards to individuals and institutions doing this incredible and worthy work. Today, we'll announce the winners of 11 awards, spanning projects and research from the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Spain, Portugal, and Australia. While we'll spend just a few minutes with each winners today, if there is a project or research that you're interested in taking a deeper dive on, you can tune into AASHE Sustainability Award Winners webinar series scheduled for January through March. And AASHE staff will put the link on the Zoom chat as we speak. Now, I would like to welcome to the virtual stage to celebrate the winners, Megan Faye Zanizer, AASHE's Executive Director. Megan, welcome.
Thanks, Famida, and it's great to see everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. As Famida said, my name is Megan Faye Zanizer, and I'm AASHE's Executive Director. My dog Rusty may be joining us as well. If a siren goes by, here's hoping he stays quiet. We're delighted to have this opportunity to open this event to a virtual audience today. I'm particularly excited to announce the winners live. We typically celebrate the AASHE Awards at our annual conference with friends and colleagues by our side, but obviously the pandemic prevented our community from being together in person. However, like so many sustainability change agents this year, so many of you, we embraced the opportunity to flex our muscles of creativity and resilience. By separating the ceremony from our conference and meeting virtually today, we're able to increase access to this amazing opportunity to learn from our award winners and celebrate their incredible work. I'm participating today from my home in Philadelphia, the native land of the Lenape. I offer my respect and gratitude to the Lenape and all Indigenous peoples. I continue to learn how to best honor the land in which I reside, as well as honor the caretakers of traditional wisdom. This is work that we've been doing within AASHE, and I know many of you on your campuses are doing similar work. Despite the significant challenges we faced this year, we still have a lot to celebrate, and that's what this ceremony is for. Today, you will hear about exciting and transformative leadership that we hope inspires and catalyzes ideas for action on your campuses and in your communities. Before we get to the amazing work of our winners, I have a very special announcement to make regarding next year's awards. As part of our efforts to center racial equity and social justice in everything we do, AASHE has created a new award category, Collaborations Advancing Racial Equity. This new award seeks to foster and highlight collaborations between on-campus entities, as well as between the institution and the community that focus on racial equity and social justice. I know many of our members have been doing significant work in this area, and I'm excited for all we have to learn from this category. Stay tuned for more information about the 2021 call for award submissions coming soon. I'm appreciative of all of the hard work of the AASHE community during an incredibly challenging year. I wish you all good health, and I'm really hopeful next year brings about even more action and positive impact from our dedicated community of sustainability change agents. Thanks so much for being here. And for now, I'm going to pass it back to you, Famita, and I'll see everybody again in a little bit.
Thank you, Megan. I am excited about the new award category. Thanks to you and AASHE staff for leadership in this very important area. On behalf of AASHE and all award applicants, I would like to take a moment to recognize the judges that volunteered their time to review more than 450 submissions, wow, in this year's program. It's no small feat. We appreciate your time and experience. Thank you so much. And also to thank the staff who have helped put this award show together. To see who dedicated their time and talent as a judge, please do visit aashe.org. And now, with the sound of a virtual drum roll and without further ado, let's get started. In the Campus Sustainability Achievement category, we have 3 winners selected by institution type. First, in the Associate College Group, please join me in welcoming and congratulating President Dr. Robert Garza on behalf of the Community Garden at Palo Alto College. Welcome, Dr. Garza.
Thank you, Famita. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Of course, good to see you. Just to kind of get us started, how did the Community Garden come to fruition for you?
You know, before I begin, I'd like to first thank Jennifer Flores, who's our Director of Student Life and has really been leading the charge for our Community Garden and has done an amazing job moving us forward. You know, really the garden came as part of a $2.6 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education within the Project Impacto grant, which supported various resources available through the college's Student Health Advocacy Resource Engagement, our Share Center. So moving us forward, it was an area for us to establish a place that we could grow food, cultivate community, improve food security for students in the surrounding community. And so really with the concept of helping people and caring about people, that's really where the concept generated.
And why do you think the Community Garden is so vital?
You know, even during these most unprecedented times, I will tell you that the food garden or the community garden really addresses an area need within our community, as our community is located in what's determined as a food desert, which is an area lacking access to healthy, affordable food at grocery stores, farmers markets, and healthy food providers. I'll tell you that Palo Alto College and really with Jennifer's leadership has been hosting pop-up markets with the San Antonio Food Bank to help our community. And when we're out there, myself included, we have well over 200 families on each event. And it's something that really warms your heart that you're doing something good, but it also breaks your heart because when you have families that are coming into your college, and I'm not talking about just students, I'm talking about parents, I'm talking about community members, I'm talking about babies. I mean, babies are coming in vehicles and we're providing them with the essentials of just food. That's really a big deal. And at Palo Alto College, we've already cultivated over 1,000 pounds of food that we have provided to our students in our community, as well as donating to our San Antonio Food Bank. And if anybody has ever picked up a newspaper and saw the food bank of San Antonio, we're talking about tens of thousands of cars and people waiting, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning or being in line at 5 o'clock in the morning just to wait 8 hours or more to get the essentials of food. And I will tell you, this is a time that we have to come together, care about people, help people. And by having the community garden and working through and trying to fight these food deserts by watering the land that we have available for us really makes a difference for our students and our community.
Thank you. You know, being a neighbor, I can tell you what Dr. Garza is saying is all true. It's really been an inspirational project. Congratulations again, and it's great to see you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
The next Campus Sustainability Achievement winner comes from the category of four-year schools with under 10,000 full-time enrolled students. Please put your hands together to congratulate the solar project collaboration between the colleges of Dickinson, Lafayette, Lehigh, and Muhlenberg. Welcome, Delicia Naman and Catherine Target Gross.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Congratulations. So I get to ask you a few questions, if that's okay. What do you think are the steps that other schools can take to form a consortium of higher impact like the ones you put together?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to say one thing before answering that question, on behalf of Lafayette College and Lehigh University, Muhlenberg College and Dickinson, Catherine and I would really like to thank AASHE for this award today. We also really want to acknowledge Kalina Prosek, the sustainability coordinator at Muhlenberg College, and Ken Schultz from Dickinson College, who aren't able to be part of today's ceremony. And we especially also want to thank Customer First Renewables, our consultant, who really led the consortium through an expertly managed contracting process. And they were such a pleasure to work with. I hope they're on today because they should also be part of this acknowledgement. But to answer your question, we initiated a very large outreach effort by connecting with 20 plus institutions of higher ed here in Pennsylvania. We had a series of calls between these schools and our consultant, Customer First Renewables, to really share the timeline and process for pursuing a renewable energy strategy together. So they can decide if they want to be part of that process. We did this because we want to be inclusive, but also because we wanted scale that would drive down the price. So for us, a number of factors made the four of us the right fit to pursue a renewable energy contract. This included pace that decisions could be made, approximately similar leadership buy-in to begin with. Previously stated commitments to sustainability was helpful, priority of financials, and then also recognizing that there are reputational and educational benefits in pursuing a renewable energy contract. But as I'm sure anyone can tell you that has also pursued this sort of contract, you can certainly form a consortium with nonprofits or private businesses or governmental organizations to equally make an impact.
What do you think are the most persuasive arguments for leadership buy-in?
So for us, financial risks were the most critical to our decision makers. The power of a consortium to achieve very favorable pricing, along with excellent stewardship from CFR, was really instrumental in achieving approval to proceed. But similarly, our decision makers did not want any capital outlay. So we made sure to add that to the RFP prior to its release. But the consortium aspects also provides a lot of credence for overall strategy that I think decision makers within our VP and presidential suites really felt comfortable with. It's always easier to go out on a limb if there are partners that do it with you. But some institutions out of that 20 that I mentioned did opt out for reasons associated with an off-campus aspect of the initiative or for a project that was a little bit further away. That was not something they were interested in. But that said, in the end, the comprehensive environmental benefits of our project, which we ended up going with in Texas, was a really convincing element of the decision framework. But for other schools, considering a consortium, decision makers could be more concerned about the location of the project or counterparty risk or educational benefits. So those conversations are really important to have early on with potential partners.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then how did the schools come to a consensus? Was this a difficult process? What was your secret sauce?
Yeah, so the consortium agreed to 5 bid scoring criteria early on in the project by getting input from internal stakeholders at each of our institutions. No solution was off the table from the beginning when the criteria discussions were initiated. Those criteria were one of the first things that was established, and getting that internal stakeholder buy-in across the participating institutions was key. And we determined that the economics and risk were the most important factors, and where the project was located was less important to. So I'll turn it over back to you. Thanks, Famita.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine and Delisha. Congratulations again. It really sounds like a fantastic collaboration. And congratulations on moving the needle on carbon neutrality in each of your schools. That's amazing. Next, the winner of a Campus Sustainability Achievement Award hails from the category of four-year schools with over 10,000 full-time enrolled students. Please welcome to the virtual stage, Ruth Yao with Georgia Tech on behalf of their Serve, Learn, Sustain affiliated courses program. Hi, Ruth. Do you have a brief presentation for us today to share?
I do. Thank you so much, Famita. It is such a delight to accept this award on behalf of the team at Serve, Learn, Sustain at Georgia Tech, Jenny Hirsch, Chris Chatfield, Rebecca Watts-Hull, Jamie Jones, and David Eady. So I will jump right in and share my screen with a brief presentation. So we are Serve, Learn, Sustain at Georgia Tech, and our office is dedicated to equipping students at Georgia Tech to create sustainable communities while they're on campus and after they graduate. And this course affiliation program that we're very proud of, it really has a few key guiding ideas, but its basics are that we welcome faculty from across our university to affiliate a course through a very easy application process. Many of the courses that affiliate embrace all three pillars of sustainability, and courses that affiliate get support from Serve, Learn, Sustain in a few key ways, right? To engage partners for projects and as speakers, to connect to SLS's event series, and to use our teaching toolkit, which has over 40 tools that cover a broad array of sustainability topics and case studies. The program began in 2016 with just 11 courses, and this academic year, there are more than 160 affiliated courses that reach 7,000 students at Georgia Tech. So we have three guiding ideas. We have a lot of guiding ideas, but I only have 2.5 more minutes. So the first is a focus on assets. The second is embracing that everyone has expertise. And the third is making it easy. Our focus on assets means that faculty were able to understand that our vision of sustainability was encompassing and diverse, and to really dive in, bringing their gifts and their expertise and their wisdom. So one outgrowth of our affiliated courses program was the Sustainable Cities minor, which was a reimagining of a minor to bring in more courses from more departments and to really embrace the assets that those faculty members bring. That minor now is the most intellectually eclectic on campus, and it prepares students for a variety of careers and paths in sustainable development. The idea that everyone has expertise led in part to our linked courses program, which brings faculty from a few disciplines under the auspices of a single theme that is shared among all those courses to work with a shared partner. And students in those courses have a transdisciplinary academic experience unlike any other that they can have at Georgia Tech. And finally, because we made it easy, faculty members really like to dip their toe in with Serve, Learn, Sustain and then dive more deeply if they wanted to. An example of that are faculty members in the College of Business who work together with community partners to create a social innovation buzz course, and then an Innovating for Social Impact program. And this program has really shifted the culture of innovation at Georgia Tech to one where we embrace the perspectives of grassroots entrepreneurs and innovators. We have a lot more to say about this courses program and how it works. If you would be willing to join us, Rebecca Watts-Hull, my colleague, and I would be really pleased to see you at our webinar on March 31st from 3 to 4 p.m. And we really appreciate AASHE's opportunity, AASHE giving us this opportunity to share a webinar with you all. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Ruth and colleagues. That's amazing. It really sounds like Georgia Tech is doing an exceptional job integrating sustainability into courses and providing experiential learning, which is just so important. Thank you and congratulations. So we're moving on to the winner of the Student Leadership Award. I'm very excited to announce Sarah Schwartz, Emma Rohrig, Dempsey Perno, Celia Liscato, and JD Chen at the University of Central Florida for Green Space Sustainability Design Town Halls and Make-a-thon Partnership and Project. Welcome and congrats. Do we have them on screen? Hello. So they're representing the student team are Sarah and Emma. And I have a few questions for you, Sarah and Emma, if you're ready.
Yes.
Great, good to see you. So how did this project come together in your UCF community in this very particular way? How did the group come together and how did you bring the project about?
Yes, thank you so much for having us here today, and thank you for that great question. Our team is coming to you from the University of Central Florida, so we're on Seminole land that we call Orlando, Florida, and we're consistently one of the top universities in the US by undergraduate enrollment. So we're a really large, urban, diverse campus community. So in order to bring together so many members of the community to accomplish this project, we fundamentally relied on the semesters and years of relationship building that each of our students on this team brought, whether that was connections to certain campus departments, the Office of Sustainability, or forming like a strong bond between student government and the Office of Sustainability Initiatives. And then from there, we really focused this project on reaching every type and every student that we have at UCF. So in order to do that, we partnered with Landscaping and Natural Resources as our project was designing a space on campus. It was space oriented, and then we worked out from there, and we engaged the colleges, departments, the bookstore, the music hall, all these people that surrounded this space in the heart of campus. And we worked with them to bring out their communities, and not just students and professors, but definitely staff, and then community stakeholders and members. So this was a really community-based effort that relied on the strong relationships us students had, and then built out from there. And we also had a really concentrated kind of marketing campaign where we really wanted to invite anyone and everyone to come out to our town halls and share their feedback on how to create a sustainable and just space.
Terrific. So how do you think this model, the utilizing the town hall and make-a-thon, how do you think this could be a model for pursuing just sustainability? How could others follow this? Or what would be some of the ways they can use this as a model?
Yes, thank you for that great question. So we believe that this project is very adaptable on many scales of different campuses. As Sarah said, we're one of the largest universities by enrollment in the nation, but we feel like this could work at any level, any amount of enrollment for any university. Even if it's urban or rural, the biggest thing that you need to focus on when implementing this model is definitely relationship and community building. Like Sarah mentioned, because we had all of these connections with all these different departments, we were able to gather a very broad audience for the town hall to bring in all their different perspectives. And that's what made the event so successful, because we got to hear different perspectives that we've never really heard before, just working in our individual departments. And then also this model is adaptable across many different uses. Like it doesn't necessarily have to be for a design purpose. As we used it, it could be any community issue, any potential idea or programming that wants to be involved. If you want community input, this is really great. It can span across multiple facets such as LGBT+, POC, and honestly, just any campus stakeholder across the even neighboring community colleges or any university near you within the area that you'd like to partner with as well. So the most important thing is just to keep in mind that the decision-making needs to stay within the community instead of just purely administration, because that was the biggest thing that we want to emphasize. We felt that students that were often falling through the cracks, they weren't normally on campus, they didn't get their voices heard, they didn't feel like they had a stake in their community. So the biggest part of the town hall was making sure that the community was able to make these decisions instead of just the administration making decisions for the students, because the students are just as much as stakeholders in the university as the administration is. Thank you.
Congratulations, Sarah and Emma. I can see why the judges chose this project. It's just a great accomplishment, and congratulations on mobilizing so many players to achieve this outcome. Nice work. That's
Thank
great.
you so much.
Of course, congratulations. All right, so thank you for staying with us, everyone. We're going to carry on. For the next set of winners, we'll focus on research that contributes to the advancement of higher education sustainability. And we have 6 awards here. First, please join me in congratulating the winners of the Campus Sustainability Research Award in the undergraduate category. From my alma mater, okay, this is a very big deal. They are Francis Duncan, Aidan Kofanes, Emmeline Shang, and Kesley Town at Smith College for reducing Smith College's dining GHG emissions and analysis of beef and milk substitutions. Welcome, Francis, Aidan, Emmeline, and Kelsey.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be recognized by AASHE for this project, reducing Smith's dining emissions and analysis of beef and milk substitutions. We are Aidan, Emmeline, Francis, and Kelsey, and we're all recent graduates at Smith College. The life cycle of food accounts for 26% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Institutionally, this cycle makes up 13% of Smith's total emissions. Smith has been working to address food sustainability largely by buying locally. But how big of an impact does local purchasing actually have? Transportation accounts for only a small percentage of total food-related emissions, 11% for produce and an even smaller 1% for red meat. To make a bigger impact, institutions should focus on production emissions as well, and this means changing purchasing practices to consider lower carbon substitutions. Our research focuses on substitutions for dairy milk and beef, 2 of the most emissions-intensive food categories.
The goal of our project was to calculate the differences in emissions and cost when substituting out beef and dairy milk in favor of lower carbon alternatives. Our toolbox consisted of published emissions multipliers and Smith College's 2019 food purchasing data. In choosing substitutes, we needed alternatives that were nutritionally similar, like protein for protein, similar in usage, like liquid for liquid, and financially reasonable.
Let's take a look at milk first. Substituting rice, soy, oat, or almond milk for dairy milk results in large emissions reductions, the equivalent of removing 32 to 40 cars from the road each year. But Smith might want to keep some dairy milk due to student dietary needs or preferences. Replacing just half of dairy milk purchases with lower carbon plant-based alternatives, which tend to be more expensive, would result in a reduction of 82 metric tons carbon dioxide equivalent per year at a cost of $30,000.
Now let's take a look at beef. Beef is an even higher impact category. Replacing all beef purchases with lower carbon protein sources like turkey, tofu, and beans reduces emissions by a huge amount, the equivalent of removing between 787 to 874 cars from the road. A scenario in which Smith substitutes half of beef purchases for lower carbon alternatives would result in emissions reductions of 1,900 metric tons and save $50,000 per year. Our cost and emissions analysis creates a framework for institutions beyond Smith to significantly reduce their greenhouse gas emissions through food substitutions while meeting diverse dietary needs and staying within budget. We'd like to thank AASHE for the opportunity to present this work, as well as members of Smith Dining Services and our project advisors, Alex Barron and Dana Weisbord.
Wow, congratulations. Nice work, Smithies. I'm sure your research will aid Smith College in reducing their greenhouse gas emissions from food, and I sure know it's inspiring all of us. It's great to see you all, and beautiful presentation as well. Next, let's get excited about the winner of the Campus Sustainability Research Award in the graduate research category. A round of applause and thanks to Nuria Bautista Push at Carlos III University of Madrid from unveiling the path towards sustainability, scientific interest at HEIs from a scientometric approach in the period of 2008 to 2017. Nuria, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you very much, Famida. I'm going to share a brief presentation. So, hi everyone. First of all, I want to thank you, the AASHE organization and the members of the jury for this prize. And I'm very honored, and that means a lot in my career. And now I would like to explain you the contribution of my research. First, it is undeniable that research is essential in contributing to sustainability. Considering that research on sustainable development relates to the real-world challenge, it requires researchers to align scientific knowledge production with concrete societal problems. In this regard, the research community is encouraged to embrace an active role and become even as a catalyst for change. Considering that higher education institutions have a central role to sustainability, my question was, how are these institutions contributing to it? So now I will summarize some highlights obtained from the PhD. I focus on how higher education institutions contribute to sustainability through research and sustainable development goals. Some questions related were, how is the evolution of papers over time of these institutions? Are contributing more than other organizations? In which topics they are working on? Is there any specific hot topic they are working that other organizations are not? Also, I wanted to offer another dimension, not only research, to try to see a holistic approach. Some pillars that I consider were, for instance, assessment and reporting, university and governance, or internationalization, among others. For instance, are those universities that are producing more papers the ones that are having more sustainability plans, or have the universities more committed a higher presence in international rankings? And also these dissertations leads to some outputs, like a sustainable development goals anthology that could be potentially used in other studies because it's openly available. So just to give you an overview of some of the results obtained, in this slide you can see the distribution of papers for each SDG by continent. This offers a global picture of how different continents are working towards SDGs. And also this map shows the concurrence of SDGs, which shows the connections between the different goals. And this is based on the papers from the higher education institutions. I think the results of these dissertations could offer information to policymakers to determine whether their policy is aligned with research, especially in the Spanish framework, and moreover could be potentially used to guide publications topics or even the internal policy of research center. Finally, I would like to remark that it is important to maintain the continuity of the study of these topics to determine the contribution of higher education institutions to sustainability. And finally, I would also like to thank you again for this prize and the opportunity of being here. Thank you very much.
That's fantastic, Nuria. Great presentation. And that mapping for the SDGs, that's amazing. I can see how this research will certainly aid higher education further in integrating sustainability, and especially the Spanish-speaking institutions. So congratulations again. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
In the academics category, the Campus Sustainability Research Award winners are Scott Strachan, Stephen Marshall, Paul Murray at the University of Strathclyde, and Edward J. Coyle and Julia Sonnenborg-Klein at Georgia Tech, for using vertically integrated projects to embed research-based education for sustainable development in undergraduate curricula. Representing the team today is Scott Strachan. Welcome, Scott, and please tell us a little bit about your research, and I believe you have a video to show us as well.
I do, thanks, Famida. Good to be here, and I'd also like to thank AASHE for this award. It's a great privilege, and obviously thank and acknowledge the efforts of my colleagues at both Strathclyde and Georgia Tech, as well as our students as well, and the contribution they've made to making the programme such a success. So as you say, this is the Vertical Integrated Projects for Sustainable Development programme. It's a programme that brings together students from different year groups across different disciplines to work in partnership with faculty in SDG related research, as part of their formal curriculum. So as you said, I have a short video animation that I'll play. And in the spirit of Goal 17, Partnership for the Goals, I would also extend an open invitation to anyone out there who may be interested in pursuing or developing a similar program at their own university or institution. And we would be more than happy to support and work with anyone who is interested in doing so. This is a program we think works very well within our own institution, but is easily replicated elsewhere. So if you just bear with me, I'll share my screen and I'll play the video.
At Strathclyde, Vertically Integrated Projects, or VIPs as they are known, allow our students to work alongside research, staff and academics on active research projects throughout their time at university. This experience allows students to develop a deeper level of subject learning, acquire academic credits, and develop the wide range of competencies employers look for in our graduates. Research teams can also be multidisciplinary, involving collaborative working between students from all faculties and departments, and so a typical VIP team may involve students not only from different year groups, but significantly from different disciplines. The VIP model offers undergraduate students the opportunity to work in partnership on real-world research projects, while also mobilising and challenging students to become active now in tackling the most pressing global challenges of our time. We have 12 VIP projects involving more than 200 students, each focusing on a primary STG. One such project is the Energy for Development VIP, which focuses on SDG 7, ensuring affordable and clean energy for all. Here, engineering, business and social science students come together to design appropriate and sustainable energy solutions. Students also get the opportunity to install off-grid systems and test their solutions in remote rural communities in Africa and India, completing 12 village school installations to date. Other VIP projects have focused on health and well-being, such as our drug discovery team, where engineers, biochemists and mathematicians have worked together to develop new techniques that can be used in the discovery of new antibiotics. Our education-focused VIPs partner with local schools in low participation areas of Glasgow and rural communities in sub-Saharan Africa. The VIP for Sustainable Development Programme, getting you ready for the world of work by tackling the work of the world. Join us in making a difference through useful learning.
Wow, congratulations. Thank you, Scott, for sharing. The vertically integrated project model seems really quite effective. And congrats to you and other authors on receiving the recognition. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Next up, please join me in recognizing the Campus Sustainability Research Award winners for engagement research. They are Joanna Mendez, Kira Hudler, Lily Dennis, Natalie Ford, and Joshua Long at Southwestern University and Muriel Danila at University of Sydney for intersectional sustainability and student activism, a framework for achieving social sustainability on university campuses. Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Love to ask you a few questions about your research. So what led you to focus on this particular topic of research?
We were each really inspired and motivated by the work that so many other students were leading on our campus to address the sexual assault crisis, the climate crisis, and the deeply embedded racism on our campus. And so during our junior year, students had applied for a few grants related to social injustice and social sustainability through our Campus Green Fund. And while the committee overseeing the fund approved the proposals, senior administrators on our campus made it clear that going forward, proposals like these could no longer be approved as they had no relation to sustainability. And this lack of awareness of intersectionality from senior leaders of our school directly conflicted with the school's curriculum and what we knew to be true about the ways oppression and injustice are intrinsically tied to whether or not an environment is sustainable. So we set about to ensure that these intersections would become universally recognized in both campus culture and university policy.
That's so impressive. So when you first presented this issue to the student body, how did you garner support? How did you get them to join you in this great cause?
Hello. It was really important for us to garner support from other students because, as mentioned in another presentation, students are important stakeholders just as the administration and the faculty. So we wanted to make sure that they were on board with us. And so we held a forum and we had a student survey that we sent out. And we also worked with the Student Government Association to get students on board.
So great. And did you choose to address this issue? Sounds like you went about it through the university governance process as opposed to going straight to the university president. Would I be right in assuming that? Or tell us a little bit about it.
No, yeah, that's correct. We decided not to go straight to the university president just because we thought that he may deny it or it just may be easily overlooked. So instead, going to the campus governance made it easier to gain attention and traction for the amendment change.
That's great. It looks like the approach really worked. Thank you. Congratulations again. This is a terrific project. Nice job. All right, so we're moving on to the operations category of Campus Sustainability Research Award. Please put your hands together for Ryan Shea, Matthew Warsham, Andrew Chison, Ben McCall, and Kelly Kissock at the University of Dayton for a life cycle cost analysis of transitioning to a fully electrified, renewably powered, and carbon neutral campus at the University of Dayton. So joining us today is Ryan, Matthew, Ben, and Andrew. Welcome, everyone. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, Ramita, and thank you, AASHE, for the honorable award. Well, I'll be the only one speaking to streamline our part here. I definitely want to acknowledge the great work of the other authors with Ben and Matthew listed here, as well as Dr. Andrew Chason and Dr. Kelly Kissock as well. But yeah, back to you, Famita.
No problem. We're just learning about these projects as we go along. So maybe you could tell us about what was the most exciting or interesting takeaway from your research so our audience can hear.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think it's first important to note that the other authors and I started this research because of the scientific facts that the immediate global transition from greenhouse gas emitting energy systems to clean energy ones is absolutely imperative to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees C and mitigate the worst effects of climate change. So we knew that this transition had to happen globally, but definitely at the University of Dayton. But we didn't know was how feasible and how cost effective it would be. So I think what's really exciting about this research is that it shows that this transition to a fully electric and renewably powered campus without carbon offsets or the like is not only possible on university campuses, but can also be considered cost effective over the long term and a real hedge against future cost uncertainties. So yeah, it's also been exciting to see the University of Dayton start to implement these solutions and hopefully sooner rather than later achieve this transition at the University of Dayton.
Yeah, that's terrific. Ryan, how broadly applicable is this research to the university as well as your university as well as others? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the study was specifically for the University of Dayton, but I think the general process we took, so gathering the right team and data and analyzing the life cycle costs of different solutions like renewable energy, energy efficiency, electric vehicles, and electric heat pumps and the like, is applicable to any university that's trying to determine the cost effectiveness of switching to electric and renewably powered campus systems. And I think the other results that are probably broadly applicable to other campuses are the energy efficiency and electric vehicle results in particular, because energy efficiency is almost always a no-brainer as far as cost-effective solutions go. And that most universities also have the unique fleet characteristics of low mileage traveled and off-peak charging. So I think those two results are likely applicable, and then renewable energy being a cost-effective solution likely as well. And while that vary regions to region, I think that would be applicable in the majority of areas. And the last major aspect of our research of switching from natural gas heating to electric powered heat pumps, I think will likely be the largest capital challenge for most universities. I think that will be applicable as well. So yeah, and the last thing I'd note as well is in my current role at Rocky Mountain Institute, helping local governments achieve their renewable energy goals, it's been exciting to see these overall themes of our research align with actual real world projects, and that it's applicable in other areas as well.
Congratulations, Ryan and team. This type of analysis will really help not just Dayton, but other universities to further reduce greenhouse gas emissions from scope 1 and 2 emissions. So nice work. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The last research award in the planning and administration category goes to Ana Rita Amaral, Eugenio Rodriguez, Adilio Rodriguez Gasper, and Alvaro Gomez and University of Coimbra in Portugal for a review of empirical data of sustainability initiatives in university campus operations. Welcome. Hello, Ana. I believe you have a presentation for us. Hello.
Yes, I have. But first of all, let me thank you for these awards. It's a pleasure to be here today, and it's an honor to receive this recognition. I have a brief presentation of this research. I'm going to share my screen with you. So I am here on behalf of the other co-authors of this article we have published early this year entitled A Review of Empirical Data of Sustainability Initiatives in University Campus Operations. But first of all, let me just introduce ourselves. We are researchers from the University of Coimbra. For those who don't know, it's one of the oldest universities in the world. Our institution provides all levels of graduation in all major fields of knowledge, and we are spread by 3 campuses. And the main campus is full of history, and it's recognized as UNESCO World Heritage, so everyone is invited to visit us. Regarding this research, it's a review article that we published in Journal of Cleaner Production this year. It's a review on the sustainability initiatives implemented in university campus worldwide. And the objective of this work was to identify the key areas that influence the environmental performance of higher education institutions. So for that, we take the STARS tool as a reference to collect the initiatives published in scientific literature, and we gather them according to the subcategories of operations as energy, buildings, water waste, grounds, transportation, air and climate, and food. We also wanted to frame these initiatives according to local conditions and the context of the institutions. And we try to relate the initiatives with the national indicators such as energy consumption, waste production, water withdrawal, CO2 emissions, GDP, etc. But we didn't find any correlation between initiatives and the context of the higher education institutions. But we found that there is a scarcity of research in these topics. Higher education institutions don't have typically the scientific channels as a privileged way to communicate. So more research is encouraged in this area to provide better data about empirical initiatives. But we believe that this work is very useful for all those institutions who are starting their path towards a sustainable university campus. So to know more about this work, you can see the article in Journal of Cleaner Production or visit the AASHE website or contact me. Thank you very much for this time and this award once again.
Congratulations. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you.
Research into trends, policies, and actions related to sustainability within campus operations and their impact on research. It's really terrific and a lot to learn from for the rest of us. So congrats again for receiving the AASHE Award. So that concludes 10 out of 11 awards. There's one more. I hope you feel as inspired as I do. You know, the chats have been great and the congratulations to one another. It's really great to be part of the community. Before we move on to our last award, the Lifetime Achievement Award winner, once again, on behalf of AASHE staff and the community, please allow me to congratulate all the winners thus far. Your efforts in research and action push the bounds of sustainability within higher education, and we are so proud that you've ushered us into this esteemed list and be part of this community today. So congrats again. Don't forget to, those of us in the audience, please don't forget to visit all the listings and the dedicated webinars on each of these topics on research. The webinars will be hosted between January and March of 2021. And feel free for anyone, and it's free for anyone to attend. So please, something to look forward to, and please share that with your colleagues as well. On to our final award. The next award is only in its third year, the Lifetime Achievement Award. To recognize and introduce this year's winner, I want to invite back Megan Faison-Iser to share a few words about this very special individual. Megan.
Thanks, Famita, and to everyone we just heard from, on behalf of AASHE, congratulations again. As Famita said, incredibly inspiring work. Congratulations, everyone. And now it is my distinct honor to announce the third recipient of the Lifetime Achievement Award. This award honors outstanding leaders, both academics and practitioners, who have made significant contributions to the advancement of sustainability in higher education over their lifetimes. They represent the brightest and most influential minds in the field of campus sustainability. I'm going to announce the winner, tell you a bit about them, and then we're going to have a discussion about this amazing person. So with the sound of a virtual drum roll, again, I invite you to all join me in congratulating Nan Jenks-J as this year's Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Nan has recently retired from Middlebury College after having served the college for over 2 decades, most notably as the Dean of Environmental Affairs. She played leadership roles in the development of environmental studies programs at Williams College, University of Redlands, and Middlebury. In addition to her work as an educator, Nan also pioneered a wide variety of campus sustainability strategies, from green buildings and on-site composting to sustainable purchasing, fuel switching, and land conservation that have helped to make Middlebury an internationally recognized leader in sustainability. She has published and presented widely on her work and served as an advisor to multiple sustainability organizations, from Shelburne Farms, an organization dedicated to education for sustainability, to AASHE. And even though Nan retired from Middlebury, she continues to work with them in a consulting role. She's been a dedicated leader in sustainability in higher education for decades, has influenced the lives of hundreds of students, perhaps even more, continues to be a beloved friend and colleague to many, a steadfast champion of equity, native plant aficionado, and an incredibly kind human being. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating Nan.
Hello, it's good to be with you, Megan, and everyone else. Before we begin our conversation, I just wanted to also thank and recognize today's award recipients, because much of what I was planning to focus on in our conversation has already been spotlighted by this amazing work. So it's indeed inspiring. Also, big congrats to you and your team at AASHE. In the face of uncertain times and enormous challenges, you hosted the largest AASHE conference ever, virtually, and with over 6,700 attendees from across the globe, almost tripling your earlier numbers. This not only is a staggering number of people, but it is a way to break down barriers of distance and of funding and be a truly equitable event. And so big, exciting thank you for that. I want to say how honored I am to receive this award from AASHE, an organization that I've long supported and admired. Be careful here. I'm deeply humbled to stand beside two of my, the two predecessors and great friends and colleagues, Tony Cortese and Judy Bolton. And also big thanks to Bill McKibben, who actually nominated me for this award, along with colleagues at Middlebury, other institutions, and partners who contributed to that letter, that nomination letter. Please know this work, this lifetime of work has never been done in isolation, but in partnership throughout and with a great many incredible people. So if you can't see this, I want you to help me feel that there is an enormous wave of gratitude flowing over me right now to AASHE and to all the people that have been involved in this work over time. Over to you, Megan.
I feel that gratitude, Nan, and I think I can probably say on behalf of myself and everybody here, we are sending that gratitude right back to you. It's really incredible to think about the work that you've been doing for decades at Middlebury for over 20 years, but doing sustainability in higher education since before there were groups like AASHE, before there were networks and positions focused on incorporating sustainability in higher education. So I think I'd love to just ask, you know, back when you were first starting, what drew you to this work? What inspired you?
Well, so twofold. First of all, I've always seen the possibility of change, where change can happen. And I'm always looking for that sweet spot or that point. But as a child, I spent all of my time in the out of doors, in nature, investigating animals, insects, fishes, plants. And I'm reminded of what Robin Wall Kimmerer tells us, that in native languages, the word for plant translates into those that take care of us. And I felt very much that kind of kinship as a young person. I went on to study science and became a conservation biologist, worked in the field with endangered and rare species for 18 seasons. But during that time, I was observing the degradation of the environment, the pollution of waterways and air, and the loss of habitat and the dire impacts of climate change. So I already had very heightened awareness of these issues when I first had my first teaching assignment in ecology at Berkshire Community College. So my heart goes out to two-year institutions, which are my all-time favorite, and because there's so much heart there and there's so much possibility. But at that institution, there was a very, very early and successful student-run recycling program. And also the student in the institutions had installed a pond, both for field research and also to increase aquatic ecosystems within the region. And seeing that, I immediately was hooked on the possibility that sustainable solutions can come from within higher education.
Thanks, Nan. I'm curious too, you've heard from all these amazing award winners today and the emphasis on equity, and that's been a part of your focus for years now. So I'm curious if you can share, how did equity become central to your work of advancing sustainability in higher ed?
Equity is, so when I was teaching at Williams, which is the then president at the time, I thought very boldly, was attempting to diversify the faculty and the staff at a prominent liberal arts college in the Northeast that was 99.9% white, Caucasian. So it was that was an exciting exposure for me to see this taking place. But it wasn't until I was starting the environmental studies program at the University of Redlands that I was fully immersed in diversity in California. And I loved the richness of it. It made my heart sing. The hardest part of that was to see the inequities that were taking place with my students being arrested, my faculty members being harassed, seeing staff couldn't find housing. So just having a much more heightened awareness that I was not receiving this treatment and that other people were. And I mounted a course with the director of Race and Ethnic Studies, which was a real risk for me because I was on the steep side of a learning curve at that point. And we taught a course that students loved, and we were in a very, very, I would say, very prominent area for this kind of research and projects. So students were looking at water pollution from military bases into community waterways, and they were looking at battery factories that were in low income and communities of color. And it was a fascinating course. When I left Redlands and was recruited by, fortunately and in wonderful dream, recruited by Middlebury, I offered to teach a version of the course there. And it was not, it fell on deaf ears. And it was a shock and a surprise and a reality to me. And so over time, I continued to try to pursue equity issues. The institution was moving in that direction, but slow pace, and the environmental programs were starting to move in that direction, but not a priority. And so I suggested that we conduct an audit and an assessment of our materials and look at our policies and our language and our websites. And again, it just wasn't something that was floating to the top. And so 2 years before I left, I and others in partnership, which is an important message that we heard today, in partnership, were able to invite and bring Dr. Carolyn Finney to Middlebury as a scholar in residence. And Carolyn is quite an amazing persona. And for those of you that know her, she's a writer, actress. She's an author, actress. She's an anthropological geographer. And she also is this woman who has so much gratitude in her voice. And her message is to maximize the possibility of positive change. You cannot imagine how much students want to work with her, whether it's on projects or on their coursework or on readings, in their research. So in the last year, we're talking about a 20-year span to see something like this realized. And of course, when I went to leave Middlebury last year, I was asked what's on the horizon, and I said equity. And people just looked at me with a cocked head. And then they said, well, then at the end of the interview, they said, you know, what's on the horizon? And I said, equity in collision with climate change. And then now equity and climate change and COVID further exacerbated in collision with each other. And so I think that it's been really important for me to see that quick changes, that catastrophe and crisis sadly always bring about rapid change. It's our responsibility to make that change longstanding and to make it real. And so equity and justice now need to be moved from the periphery to the center and to be part of the lens through which we see sustainability. And I think that that was really well articulated by so many of your keynote speakers. And I think that it's a perfect placement, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity, perfect placement in sustainability. So I'm very optimistic about what might happen, but we cannot let the momentum stop or drop.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, Nan, it's just incredibly heartening to hear not only sort of the perspective that you have that now spans decades, and sort of the awareness of inequities dating back decades ago, but the fact that especially someone with as much credibility as you have and positional power within Middlebury, the fact that you are championing equity amidst sustainability conversations. We even heard from some of our other award winners today about concern about their administrators not understanding intersectionality. So it's just incredibly heartening to hear what a champion you are for equity. And while it's easy to, again, just sort of celebrate all of your incredible accomplishments, I do think sometimes sustainability folks have a hard time celebrating, but at the same time, we often just talk about the wins. It's sort of like, oh yeah, we were able to do this. And yet it makes everything seem easy, which we know it's not. So I'm really curious, as you've been reflecting on your career, if you could share or would be willing to share with us a failure or something that you really were challenged by, because I think we recognize that there's so much value in what we can learn from our failures. And again, as we look back on your illustrious career, I'm curious whether there's something that sticks out that was incredibly instrumental in helping you on your path to sustainability that at the time perhaps was, a failure.
You're so right, Megan. We focus so much time on successes, rating systems, rankings, competition among ourselves, between and among ourselves, and we quickly overlook our failures, and our society and system does not reinforce and support our learning from failure. So it needs to start much earlier. And so, yes, lots of failures. And when I was closing up my office and working on all this archival information, it was perfectly clear to me how many failures there had been, that it kind of like drifted out of my mind. But one, I'll just give two very quick examples, and they're very different, and they're not dramatic, but they felt like it at the time. So we put up installed a meteorological station tower for a student to study wind possibility of wind power at the school's ski area. Very controversial in Vermont, as you can imagine. It's aesthetically, it is very unappealing to many people. And the tower actually fell down, and the student was able to extrapolate her data to finish her thesis, which was, by the grace of God, that was wonderful. But then when it came time to there was a recommendation from a student and a faculty member to put a wind turbine on campus. And I thought the same people around the table, a physicist, a faculty member physicist, an engineer from facilities, students, other staff, assembled. And I thought, this is what they're going to say. We tried that before, it didn't work. Let's not do it again. And how many times, you never want to hear that on your campus. It just means you're starting from no instead of go. And instead, what the response was, and it was so heartening to me, the response was, this is how we should do it this time. And that's an example of a learning institution, an institution in organizational change theory that's taking what they learned from that and moving it forward. And I was so impressed by that response and reaction. And of course, the wind turbine was installed, which was great. A second, just real quick example is that there are some things that you're doing that are failing that you just need to stop. And so it is really important to know that you can let things go, even if they're popular. So we had a student grant project that the students loved, but the outcomes weren't very good. And the students, it was overseen by a committee, the Environmental Council, which is not the greatest body to be able to be advisory to student projects. And so I shut down the program after 10 years, much to people's chagrin, reallocated the funds and started something called the Sustainable Solutions Lab, where students work on projects and teams. They have paid internships and they get college credit depending on which projects and how it's structured. They are working internationally and they're working on campus. And the projects have such high caliber. They also, as one of your recipients today mentioned, they provide students with so many competencies. And the campus's current net zero 2028 carbon initiative blueprint came out of one of these sustainable solutions labs. So students, there might be 12 slots in this, there might be 60 students applying to get in. So stop things, rethink, restructure, and reallocate.
Ma'am, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just said where things are actually failing.
Yeah, I really want to like reflect what I just heard from you, because I think that's so powerful. One of the things that I heard from you is that just because you have a failure one time doesn't mean you give up. Like, how do we do this differently next time? I really appreciated that. I also really appreciated and saw Crystal like celebrating. You don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over again, and really evaluating what is going to ultimately serve us. So I really, really appreciate you highlighting those pieces, Nan, because I think they're really important for sustainability folks. And I know we're running tight on time, but I have to get a couple more in here because I think we can all benefit from your wisdom and expertise, Nan. You know, given the fact that you've been in higher ed as long as you have is inspiring to me. And it gives me a sense of hope that you've been through challenges before, because this year has been a doozy. And it feels like to some degree we are facing unprecedented challenges. Mm-hmm. And yet we have sustainability change agents, faculty, staff, students that in some cases are trying to create something out of nothing with perhaps no money, maybe limited administrative support, if not any. What recommendations do you have for these folks?
First, let me say, to continue to work in this field, particularly at this time when there's so many there's so much darkness, you have to continue to keep yourself optimistic. And there's never been someone in sustainability who is a pessimist that ever succeeded. So just continue to remind yourself to stay upbeat. You need to look for inspiration everywhere, not just in our own fields. But I look, read, search, follow up on information all over that inspires me, and I can morph that information into something that's useful on a college campus or for what we're doing. So in this year in particular, I watched, you mentioned Shelburne Farms. So I watched Shelburne Farms totally stretch their thinking. So this is a recipe for the coming year. Nothing will ever be the same again. The more you adapt and the more you change brilliantly, the better things will be. Your institutions will be in more financial chaos than they've ever been and struggle for resources or attention. So put that out there first. Do your work in a way that matches institutional goals and mission. Do your work in a way that appeals to institutional values that are oftentimes not talked about. That is attracting and retaining smart students. That is engaging, interesting, and talented alumni. It is appealing to donors and foundations. It is pulling in and drawing on the best and smartest and most creative faculty and staff. It is creating opportunities for the brightest students that you've ever had in partnership with others. These, if you look at what the institution's truly looking for, it could even be that they're looking to partner and make amends within their communities because of town gown or anything else. So look for partnerships in places that you might not otherwise look, but also look for what the institution is trying to do and match your goals to some of those. And you'll be able to see if the institution can see your work through their lens, then it rises, and respect and I think resources start to flow in that direction. Also, the work the students are talking about today in partnership, particularly the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals from the UN, brilliant. Take your work to a higher level. Partner with something that is highly regarded outside of your institution. Like partner yourself with something that is already respected, and and work with that. It just without much effort or financial input, it raises the quality of your own work. Communications is key, and I think for us, all of us, AASHE has been such a brilliant factor in the lives of people who feel isolated, and please know you're not. So look for people at AASHE and at the conferences and at other institutions, and draw on their leadership and expertise, as these students and faculty said today. And I think the final thing is to enlist different voices. So if this is a goal of our institution, then lead there and not be the last. Different voices and representation at the table will change outcomes hugely, and be there for that. So I feel like there's a lot of lessons that came out of today's conversations, and I think in the final thing I would say is if you want to lead, you need to listen, and give credit to everyone, always.
Nan, you are such an inspiration. I'm welling up over here. I mean, truthfully, I need to re-listen to everything you just said, and the recording will be available, everyone, because there's probably a dozen different sticky notes that I need to put up at my desk to remind me of all of the gems you just shared. A couple of them that are really sticking out for me, and hopefully to others as well, is look for inspiration everywhere. And what was it that you don't know any pessimist that has ever really succeeded in what they were trying to do? And especially at the near end of a dumpster fire year that we have had, and recognizing that the sustainability change agents that are here today and others in our community need to continue to fuel themselves and get motivation to do the important work that we all need them to do. So I just, Nan, all of what you just shared is just incredibly inspiring to me. I'm sure to others as well. And truly, on behalf of the collective AASHE community of the thousands of change agents, I want to thank you for your years of dedication, service, your contributions to the world, and your incredibly kind and generous spirit. Congratulations.
Thank you.
With that, I really wish we could all be in a huge, convention center room and, the big roar of applause. It really stinks that we're not able to do that. And I fear that it'll just sound like people yelling at you, Nan, if we did that now. But perhaps in the future, we'll be able to do a big holler of support for you in gratitude. But for now, Famida, back to you. And thank you. Oh, there's your award, right? I'm so sorry. Everybody, Nan has an award. This is what we sent her. This is her Lifetime Achievement Award. Standing O.
Thank you, Megan. Nan, thank you. Thank you for your words of inspiration and deep, deep wisdom. It really is our privilege to be able to hear from you, and thank you for so many years of your dedicated service and your commitment. It's very touching, and the words of wisdom as it relates to optimism is so important right now for all of us. So you've really changed the landscape and more. So thank you. And what a way to end this year, right? So despite all the turbulence of 2020, here we are celebrating incredible sustainability work. Congratulations again to all our winners. And since you've been listening so beautifully, this is the moment to hold up the award. Please hold up your physical award close to the camera so we can all see them. And this is a great opportunity for anybody to take a quick snapshot of our Zoomness and being together. Let's go ahead and do that for a couple of seconds. Great. Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So with that, we bid you and 2020 farewell, if I can say that. Happy, safe holidays, and may you be healthy and prosperous in the new year. Thank you so much. Thank you to the staff who've put this show together. Once again, congratulations to the award winners. Megan, great to see you. Take care.
Thank you, Famida.
Bye. See you soon.